One of the things a lot of us have been hearing about in this year and how many months of COVID has been the ineffective education of kids and the lack of in-person instruction. Having been a teacher for 25 years of my life before I did what I do now, I was very concerned at watching all what happened this last year. I also saw a number the other day that more kids are signed up for summer school right now than have signed up. I think it was like a 32% increase over summer school a year and a half ago. And there are two reasons. Number one, they said it's trying to get back, parents want them to get back and socially start to acclimate again to what it's like to be back in school. And the second one was grades aren't very good. A lot of kids didn't get involved. And, so we're seeing a lot of that right now. And here to talk about education today is Scott Martin. He's a lifelong Lancaster County resident, has deep roots in the community. You know, if you live in Lancaster, you're either a Martin, a Weaver, or a Stoltzfus. It's one of the three, I'm pretty sure. I think that's called profiling, and I apologize. So anybody that gets upset with me, you can see me afterward. But in the Senate, Scott Martin has been very effective. In fact, he's the chairman of the Senate Education Committee, so you're hearing from a good guy on this today. But more importantly, he's an up-and-coming guy. I mean, he really speaks plainly, not afraid to say his piece. You'll see why in a moment. But in the Senate, 12 of Scott's bills made it to the governor's desk, with 10 being signed into law in the first 2.5 years. It's a pretty good percentage, isn't it? Again, you'll see why in just a few minutes. Prior to his selection to the state Senate, his election rather to the state Senate, he served as Lancaster County Commissioner, helped to clean up what had become a dysfunctional and ineffective government over there for a while. He led a whole lot of statewide efforts through the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, was elected chair of the Republican Caucus of County Commissioners for 8 years. You'll see why in just a few minutes. In addition, for 13 years, he worked in the juvenile justice system, was very effective there as well. You'll see why in just a few minutes. He served as director of the Lancaster County Youth Intervention Center. And in a moment, you'll see why he is so good. Scott's a graduate of Lancaster Catholic High School, where he was PIAA and National Heavyweight Wrestling Champion in 1990. You'll see why in just a moment. He also went to Millersville University, where he graduated with a degree in sociology, criminal justice, and became a 3-time first-team PSAC defensive tackle and 2-time All-American. I'm trying to be careful here because I don't want to come across this guy the wrong way. I really don't. He and his wife, Amber, are the proud parents of 4 children, Alexia, Hayden, Olivia, and Gavin. There's no mention here about any family pets, so I can't mention any of that to you. But you can see right now why this guy is a guy whose name you're going to see a lot of in Pennsylvania upcoming, and you'll see why he's so effective. He is Scott Martin to talk about education today. Let's give him a nice round of applause, will you please?
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Well, for the record, I can tell you this. I probably can name 7 different Scott Martins that I know personally just in Lancaster County. So if that emphasizes his point. No, but it's truly an honor to be here, see so many familiar faces here, and hearing the wonderful and really the topics of our day being discussed. And I think everyone in here would agree that the future and the opportunities that we present for our children should probably be right at the top of the list. Would you guys all agree with that? You know, I came from an era, I was the oldest of 7 kids. My mom was a Catholic school teacher who actually still is teaching. I think the truth of the matter is that she doesn't want to be home with my dad, who's retired. But it meant something to them to get a certain type of education. I went to St. Anne's Elementary School, where she currently now still teaches, and went on to Lancaster Catholic, as did all of my siblings. But there's a little piece to that I'd like to share with you, because if you can imagine back in the 80s and the early 90s, when a lot of my siblings were going through, we didn't have the kind of opportunities that a lot of kids have today. As a matter of fact, my education and getting a certain type of education meant so much to my parents that I basically took out loans. I received maybe some little foundational grants, but I spent my summers scrubbing wax at the Lancaster Catholic High School, washing windows. And a funny story I like to tell, after I graduated high school, I actually got a letter back from my school saying, "You still owe us 4 hours of window washing." But did I like it back then? Not necessarily. However, I can see in hindsight what it meant to my parents as to something that worked for me. Fortunately, with the work of so many folks, probably some in this room throughout the course of the last couple of decades, some that you're going to meet in a little bit, that we started providing educational opportunities through things like the Educational Improvement Tax Credit, to open up more abilities, and not even using tax dollars, by allowing private entities to make a contribution in order to do that. Now, over the period of the last couple decades, it's been a real battle to grow the program. And sitting here telling you that the programs do not meet the total needs of families out there. Now, take everything that I just said, and now let's frame it around the last year. If I were to sit here and tell you that what our children have been through throughout the course of the COVID-19 pandemic and school shutdowns, let me give you a couple scary thoughts. And this is real medical billing claim data. From March of 2020 till March of 2021, self-harm claims amongst 13-year-olds to 18-year-olds up 333%. Anxiety claims up 94%. Depression claims up 96%. I think every single person in this room, we recognize the importance of the books, right? But I think we also put heavy value on what it means to our kids in terms of their interaction with their peers, the socialization, their athletics. And we were all aware of the various games going on between shutting schools down, hybrid, letting certain schools stay open briefly. But the most heartbreaking of them all, especially in certain areas of the state where the need is absolutely the greatest, we had schools that still haven't opened to this day. And what's very frustrating for families is the fact that first it was, we got to wait for a vaccine. Well, the vaccine came. Guess what? Well, we're still not opening back up. If I were to tell you that there are still areas of the state telling families that they may not open up again till 2023, and in order to do that, they have to have approval of the Pennsylvania Department of Education, which to this point has granted that approval. Is that in the best interest of our kids? So imagine you're a parent. Imagine if you're a parent who's being told that if we open this school, we're all going to die, or that your children's health doesn't matter, but meanwhile, right across the street, you know what was open? A Catholic school, a charter school. So you had more families over the course of the last year, out of just sheer frustration for the emotional, the physical, the mental well-being of their children, who wanted access because they were being denied through the public school system, who couldn't get it. Last year, 67,000 families of a student who felt it was in their best interest to find a different educational path for their child, one that works for them and their families. 1/3 of them, 22,000, denied because of the participation caps that are in place right now. In the OSTC program, which is a companion, 36,000 students and their families applied. Half, 18,000, could not do that. So your public schools saying they're going to be closed, and on the other hand, you can't even get an opportunity to try to do the right thing and to give your child that opportunity. Is that the best interest in not only of our kids, but for the future of this state? Absolutely not. But it really put an exclamation point on the importance of parental choice on the importance of the fact that our children are all not robots, that they each have different needs that we have to cater to. The typical public school format may not work for every child. That's not to paint them all bad. It's to say that we may know what's working and what's not, whether it be through their grades, whether it's through their behavior, or maybe even for their own safety. It's our duty to ensure that we provide opportunities for them. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to look for one of the largest increases through Senate Bill 1 in Pennsylvania history for EITC and OSTC. We're going to try to do our best to ensure that every family that is engaged with their children, who want them to have the best in life, are going to have an opportunity to do so. We're also going to try to fix some of the games out there. You know, we have charter entities that want to open up in some places that have very low performing school districts, and locally they get denied being able to open, so they appeal to like an entity like the state's charter appeal board. Would you be really shocked to know right now if I were to tell you that the Charter Appeal Board has 0 members on it? It's hard to take action on hearing an appeal if there's not a board to do that. We have entities that are telling charters, some very good charters who are serving some of our most neediest children across this Commonwealth, that if you do X, Y, Z and you surrender your right to appeal, then maybe you can do business here in this school district. So we're going to now require them to surrender due process. The games will continue, but I truly sense that what we've been through this pandemic, there's a lot of folks who believed that choice wasn't critical and very important. But the pandemic, if there is a silver lining, is talking about the importance of these efforts, the importance of these opportunities. Kids who could not make it in a public school district, who have found a new way, who have found a new structure in life that can lead to college scholarships, college opportunities, better jobs. That's what's important right now that we absolutely need done. So as we wrap up the budget and negotiate with the governor, there's school choice growing all across this country. But not every state has the governor that Pennsylvania does, if you haven't noticed. We're going to fight with everything we have to do the best that we can to grow these programs and to grow these opportunities and ensure that we're funding quality institutions, successful institutions that lead to a better life for the children of Pennsylvania. Folks, I could sit up here, oh, thank you for that. I could sit up here and talk about a million different issues on things that we need to turn around in Pennsylvania, but I'm only supposed to talk about education. I'm going to stick to that. But this is one of the key things. When you look to grow a state, to attract investment and new employers and new families that you hope to have move here, having a world-class education system, all is so critically important to do that, because there's families that care about who's teaching their kids, what is being taught to our kids, what is being taught to our kids, and is it going to provide them an opportunity to be successful in life. So thank you all for being here today. It's truly an honor to serve as the Senate Education Chair at really a super important time when our kids truly need it. And we're going to keep fighting with everything we got on behalf of those that we serve for a better life in Pennsylvania. God bless you all. Let's get it done.